Rupashree Ravi.
Yes, Samuel.
You're back.
Yeah.
What's my surname?
Graham.
What's my middle name?
Something with an L, I forgot.
L? It's Fraser. I told you like 2 minutes
Sorry.
ago.
Sorry. Yeah, I
Gen Z memory. So, the last conversation was absolutely fascinating. And I really enjoyed it. And I think this is going to be episode 31. So for 30 episodes, I've always started the conversation. So this time round, I wanted to say to you, where do you think we should start?
You usually start with who are you and what do you do, right? Because I've been listening to 30 episodes before this, so that's how you usually start. But what's the burning question now?
The burning question I think that we didn't answer, but we nearly answered was, well, go on, ask it.
Should Gen X apologize to Gen Z?
And what do you think?
Maybe, but instead of arguing about it,
Okay.
we work towards finding a solution.
100%.
Yeah, that's it. So, but see, I told you.
Great podcast. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. We're done. Let's
I'm
go
off,
home.
done. That's it.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. See you next week.
Yeah, so no, I think I told you last time as well, like not many people are actually open to talking to an actual Gen Z or a person who's much older, Gen X. So because we have these preconceived notions about each other, we go and we kind of like we don't know what the other person's thinking. So
No.
yeah, but when we have an open conversation, it's good. Like things come out and then we're able to
I think I
understand.
said the last time, which was I've watched a lot of podcasts where people are talking about people my age are making assumptions about people your age and what the world is doing to them and how they should think and how they should react to it and everything like that. And maybe that's my generation's reaction to now inheriting the world from our parents, because I'm 48, so we're moving into a world where now the possible vice presidents of the USA are now early 40s. People being elected into power in the UK are in their 40s, early 40s.
Yeah.
So we are now moving into that phase of now starting to run the world. You know, whether we're doing a good or bad job is to be seen. But we are making a lot of assumptions about how possibly your generation should feel about that.
Yeah.
You know? But in the question of do we owe you an apology, I don't know. The thing is, okay, when it comes to apologies, it's like this. Do you apologize for something you woefully or willfully knew that what you were doing was wrong? Okay. So an example would be, in my lifetime, the amount of recessions that economies have gone into seems to be a revolving door of financial management. Whether you would call it mismanagement is up for obvious debate. And when the 2008 massive crash happened, it was like, this will never happen again. And it's almost on the brink of happening again. So I think it's this sort of, maybe we can't help ourselves. But one thing I think we do, or yeah, now I'm actually going to say it, you know what I mean?
Say the words.
I think we owe you an apology for social media.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do. Even though it was, let's say, the millennials that invented it, you know, I think it's my generation that weaponized it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it started with your generation. The millennials got used to it, and then we grew up with that. Like we were born with, I wouldn't say born, but then we got very accustomed to that.
Well, we were definitely mobile phones and the internet. And I know the internet was around long, you know, when I think it started around when I was born. But I took, the last time we spoke, I took away from it, like, why do you feel so doomed and things like that. And I did think that if I was your age and I woke up and there was a device in my hand that was just, I don't want to sound too negative because I know that there's a lot of good that comes out of the way people use social media, but was telling me all the things that were going on in the world, you know, from a negative perspective, that was screaming everybody's opinions at me. Even if I'm searching, I think before we started recording, I said, you know, you could search how to grow flowers and within 20 videos on YouTube, you've probably heard a lot of contradiction. And so it's almost like, does it harbor even understanding which direction to go in?
Yeah, and when you talk about how to grow flowers, there'll be someone who'll tell you you've been growing flowers wrong your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be someone who said this is how you should be growing flowers, or
Yeah.
this is the only way to do it and stuff. But no, there's a million ways to do a lot of things, and that kind of information overload is very exhausting.
Is it something that you're aware of?
Yeah,
or
we are.
Do you discuss it like between yourselves?
Between Gen Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Between
do.
you and your friends.
So
I mean,
see, I think
I don't know how many 48-year-old friends you've got, but so,
Are you my friends, huh?
yes, I am.
Yes,
there you
yeah,
go.
you
Yes,
are.
I am. Can you imagine if I said no? That's
No,
instant.
you are.
No.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, we've known each other, 6 months now?
yeah,
So,
I think
yeah.
that's a
of
good,
course.
fair enough period.
Yeah,
But
all right.
yeah. So I think think when it comes to Gen Z, I guess so we're like, as a generation, I think we understand that we're depressed or like we're sad, but then we're very enthusiastic about it. I think like more enthusiastic and more open about that fact than the older generations have been, and that's why we joke about it. That's why we make memes about it. That's why we're very self-loathing also, and then we take full accountability, full acceptance of that fact. And that's why when you see our there's this whole thing of like Gen Z humor. Are you aware of that? The absurdist kind of humor. Like I'll give you an example. There's a 10-year-old child that goes, "Mom, next time don't tuck me in this." It's a picture of a bed. "Next time tuck me in this." It's a picture of a graveyard. So that's our kind of humor. And
Oh, that's dark.
that's dark.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
is
dark.
dark.
But then again,
Yeah.
like we're very accepting of that fact. Something as dark as that, but even something as simple as a piece of bread, a slice of bread just falling over. We laugh at that.
Okay.
Yeah. So at least I laugh at that a lot.
Why?
It's so silly. It's so stupid. Like my 5 seconds of my life with just that slice of bread falling and making that noise, it makes my day, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So it makes my day.
So, what... Okay. What are you depressed about?
I told you last time, climate change, the planet, the taxes, the billionaires, all of that. But
Oh, yeah, we touched upon... Because I don't watch them. So, when I was preparing for this, I was like, do I watch it?
yeah,
And I
you
was
can't
like,
even find me on LinkedIn because I don't have an account.
Yeah,
on
because
LinkedIn.
you're not on LinkedIn. Why are you not on
Yeah.
LinkedIn?
We spoke about this, but then actually I received, I won't say flack, but then some sort of like,
Backlash.
Yeah.
Ah, spicy. Oh. So-
yeah, kind of some of the people who kind of listened to that, they were like, but LinkedIn's useful for jobs, LinkedIn's useful for networking and stuff. I agree, it's good space, but just the fact that LinkedIn's very performative now is something that I don't really like.
Mm-hmm.
Like that example I gave you, someone said my dog died of something. This is what it taught me about customer segmentation and stuff.
Yes.
So people are able to do that, and it's so happening. Okay, Instagram is supposed to be that kind of a happening platform, but then now LinkedIn has started using that as a way of marketing for their jobs and for that kind of engagement, and it's very weird.
Well, I think the word that you say that's very important is engagement.
yeah.
You know, I had an interesting conversation with somebody last week about this subject where no one's updating anyone about their lives anymore. It's all publishing of content.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's all about trying... And this is where, again, this is where I do think... I don't know, like, about saying we're sorry. It's more like, I would say, I would not like to be you, okay, growing up with this. And I say that because I grew up without it,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that it's limiting... Have you ever heard of the term... I could get really destroyed for this comment, right? Have you ever heard of the term ignorance is bliss?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. It truly is. Like living under a rock.
So, I don't know about living under a rock.
No, if you live under a rock, you don't know what goes on outside the rock.
No,
right?
what I mean is it's more like, you know, if you don't know... See, where this all becomes very messy is it's all about what's worth raising awareness about and what isn't. You know what I mean? But I think that I grew up in an era where if I wanted to see news, I'd turn the television on. If I wanted to get money, I'd have to buy a newspaper.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't my choice.
Yeah.
I didn't have every newspaper company following me down the street while I'm working, throwing their headlines in front of my face, and
Extremely distressing headlines as well.
incredibly distressing that have become more distressing because the fight for attention is harder.
Yeah.
So you have to get more clickbaity. You have to say something more dramatic. The image has to be more shocking.
Yeah. It should sell as well.
Of course. Which, if you think about what we've just said as a societal concept, that's not good.
That is
You know what I
doomed.
mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm
That
saying.
is doomed.
Yeah.
So the thing is that the thing it's like saying, I said to you before, I think that your generation and the one coming after you has the power to change it because you could put it down. I don't know if we could, because everyone's built businesses and industry off of it and everything like that, where kids coming out of the school system are coming out of, I know, don't get onto the school system, I get that, right? But the thing is coming out of school, you still have so much choice ready in front of you. Do you know what I mean? That you could turn and say, this is not right. We should not use this,
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I think so. When you said we should be able to stop this, I think it's not too late, but there's a lot already going on for us to actually do something about it. And maybe Gen Z in their own tiny ways is already doing something about it, which is just purely raging about it, rebelling against things that we think that don't really work out. And then I think in some or the other way, Gen Z is a little guilty of celebrating mediocrity, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely there because we understand the pressures of hustle culture and the whole things that we don't really agree with, maybe. So we try to rebel against that, and then we try to do simple things. And in that way, I think we do things that's mediocre, but then that's appreciated because we understand the struggles of that hustle culture.
What would be an example of that?
Like if someone, for example, I think Shakespeare is regarded as the best writer and like, things like that, right? So we grew up studying Shakespeare, but then now someone just writes something like a haiku, it's called, 7 words or something. So, yeah, so just something very simple, something maybe even silly. That's appreciated. It can be, it can even, if there's a Picasso and then there's someone who just drew like mountains and then a sun and then all that, like that painting is good because of the effort that the person has put over there. So like that. So we value the effort more than the end result, I think, because we value that time that's been put on that, even though it's just mountains, even though it's just a sun.
But it's a very short amount of time.
Maybe, so what?
So for Shakespeare to write, one of Shakespeare's stories probably took a very long time. For someone to write 7 words. But I tell you why I find this interesting is that, do you think it feeds into the change in attention span?
Yeah, that's what. So that's where we're going at. So that needs to be clickbaity enough. That needs to be attention grabbing. And that's why the whole thing of like doom scrolling is also there. Yeah.
Doom scrolling?
Doom scrolling, yeah.
Or just scrolling?
No, just scrolling that ultimately leads you to
because it shows you doom.
Yeah, because you can't stop doing that. And I think you were talking about that Google Maps.
Infinite scroll.
Yeah, infinite scroll. So the person who made that initially...
was trying to... So the original versions of Google Maps and everything like that, you would go to the next screen and it would pause and it'd have to load itself in. So somebody at Google, and where this comes from is the social dilemma and Tristan Harris and being on Joe Rogan, not my own personal viewpoint. You know
Welcome
what I mean?
to the Joe Rogan experience.
That's it. I'm just robbing everything. Do you know what I mean? So, but the thing is that he said that the guy wanted to make it easy to scroll through maps, which would be very functional and definitely something that would fix old school problems where we went on road trips with my family in the 80s, my dad's pulling out maps. And I'm very glad that's not in my life right now, I'll tell you that much. But then invents infinite scroll, and then that gets mechanized into social media, so you can just keep going.
Yeah.
But you're right. It definitely, I think, even for my generation and your generation, it ultimately leads you into misery, because it starts off fun, where you open up Instagram and you're like, oh, look what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
You know, your friends have sent you tons of memes and you laugh at that.
Yeah.
I think you just sit there and it gets more and more and more, where you just think, oh,
Yeah.
I really am not enjoying
This is
myself
where the
anymore.
world is headed. I mean, yeah, in that sense.
But this is the thing. The thing is that, you know, how can you change it then? See, I know people that say it's not the tool, it's how people use it. Do you know what I mean? And what do you think about that statement?
It's a very grandfather sort of thing to say, but then
It's very what?
grandfather sort of thing to say.
Yeah.
But then, no, I think, look, I mean, it's kind of like reinventing the wheel, I think. Like, the wheel's already there. Now, I mean, what can we actually do to break away from it?
Okay.
Yeah, but from our part, I think what we're doing is, in like, our tiny victories would be like valuing time, effort, and then I think emphasizing on mental health, things like that. So things that probably have been, what is that word? Stigma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's, we kind of like highlight that, and then we break those kind of.
And that's a very
barriers.
good barrier that's been broken,
Yeah.
to be fair. The barrier of being able to actually open your mouth and say,
Yeah.
you know, especially for guys, you know what I mean? Because before, you know, 30 years ago, you would say something, oh, what's wrong with you, fairy? Just get on with it, you know.
Yeah.
Where now you are very open to turn around and say how much you're struggling with certain sort of situations, which is very, very good.
It's very valid as well. I mean, it's very valid that people are struggling, and there's plenty of reasons to struggle as well. So,
do you think that, how much emphasis do you think should and shouldn't be applied to that, where the world is tough, right? And I don't mean to sound patronizing in any way, shape or form. I'm a big fan of the statement, everybody in the world's life is tough inside their own head.
yeah.
So you've got the inheritance kid who's got billions of pounds, but is completely struggling, you know, with the fact that not going to live up to parents' expectations, or doesn't actually understand the value of money.
Rich people problems.
Rich people problems. Yeah, you can call it rich people problems, right? Not that I've ever come from that world, but
I
then
didn't say you came from that world.
no, I know that. Yeah. But I'm saying that, you know, inside your own head, everyone has got a lot. So what is difficult for one person might be completely easy for the next person on a level of what everyone's gone through.
Yeah.
You know, so there are people that have suffered severe trauma in their lives that when they sit next to someone that hasn't, who's moaning about, I can't think of a really good example, but moaning about the fact that, I've got to go back to my boarding school this summer, you know.
Yeah.
But for them, it is traumatic. But compared to somebody else's, they sit there and go, are you freaking kidding me, mate? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know what trauma is, you know. But you can't dumb down one person's just because of your own, you know. But the kind of question is, it's like, should we be saying it and then trying to deal with it and getting up and going to work and getting on with it? Or do you think there's too much time sort of spent focusing on it and it's stopping people from going out and achieving things?
I think there's a flip side to everything, but especially, I mean, there might be people who probably use mental health as an excuse to laze around or something like that. But the way I look at it is, if something positive actually comes out of something, like if you're open and you're telling people that you're struggling, and then it's actually taken into consideration and something's being done about it, rather than you being silent and nothing's happening, it's all in your own head and like all that. yeah, there will always be a flip side, whether it's people, who'll think that you're lazy or think that you're slacking off, you're not taking things seriously. I mean, it's all just in your head, like all that. But yeah, it's good when things are addressed, and yeah, that's all.
You know, we spoke before about work-life balance and working,
Yeah.
you know, and you made a comment about wanting to try other things and becoming a bartender and everything like that.
And a goose farmer.
And a goose farmer, you know what I mean? How do you, what, again, so if you wanted to be a goose farmer,
Yeah.
like, I think we got to a point where I was saying things like, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to make your ultimate sort of life sort of come true?
Yeah.
What do you see as sacrifice? This is not a trick question. Like,
Okay.
it's come because I think that the word sacrifice is used a lot when it comes to motivational speaking, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everyone, you got to sacrifice this, that, and everything else. And I think if you go back many generations, maybe even pre-boomers, I don't even know what you would call them, you know, but people that were in wars and people that came through great depressions, because whether or not we agree or disagree, there is no greater time to be alive than now when it comes to food,
Yeah.
power, global poverty levels, which are not great. They're not great, but they're better. Do you know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
They're not great. They've got a long way to go, of course.
Yeah.
But it is the best version that it sort of can be, maybe apart from social media. You know what I mean? But so it's like, what do you deem as would be sacrifice for you to achieve goose farming?
Why should there be a sacrifice in the first place is my question. Because I think, okay, sacrifice probably, that's again one word I think I've heard a lot from my parents and from, I guess, like people your age, the old people. But
I nearly spat my water out. Sorry, God.
yeah, so no, that's a, why should there be a sacrifice in the first place? Why can't I just,
So how do you see it then? Like, so why can't you just, what?
leave this job and go do goose farming? Because I have to pay bills, I have to pay rent. So that's stopping me. So that my sacrifice would be like leaving what do you call, like an easy way out, or something that's comfortable, and going into something that's difficult, I guess.
I don't want to put you on the spot. Have you researched like what it would take to do your dream job? I don't want to keep saying
I
goose
don't have a
farming in case
dream
it,
job
yeah,
as such,
because I don't want
yeah.
to call it goose farming because I don't think goose farming is it's not your dream job.
No,
Is it?
it's just something maybe I want to do for a while. But then no, I don't think I have a dream job. I just want to do something that's good, that's good for people, and be good at it. I mean, even if I absolutely suck at it, that's fine. That's okay. But as long as the output is okay and the effort that I'm putting in is valuable, yeah, that's all. Whether it's anything, whether it's me being a bartender, whether it's me being a writer for a newspaper, whether it's me editing these videos and then doing this whole production and stuff. So yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, I think the sacrifice question is interesting because sometimes you're not in a position to just go and do it.
Yeah.
Now,
What's holding you back? I think that's what you're asking, or
I'm trying to be very choice with my words because I'm not trying to talk about privilege or anything like that. I'm talking about if I wanted to be an astronaut, right, for instance,
yeah,
I've got coming from the UK, there is no astronaut program going on there. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't come from a background that would ever be able to afford to put me into that world, you know, or anything like that. So therefore, if I really wanted to do it, you'd have to, I'm just making this up, but you'd have to like leave home, study
yeah,
your into the next world, do you know what I mean? And somehow claw your way over to possibly the States where they have, or you qualify for it. I don't know, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
But it's more like we come into this world, none of us are asked, you know, show me a human who asked to come into this world. They'll be the most popular human in the world.
Yeah.
I would definitely like them on the podcast. But but you suddenly become, I don't know, aware sentient maybe around 12 or 13, where it all becomes a little bit more realistic, and then definitely around 16, 17. But it's like you feel that you've only got what's in front of you to work with. But if you wanted to, if you really did, and you hear stories of people doing it, where the person, guy, girl that came from nothing and ended up doing that, and you look at it and you go, how the hell did you get from there to there?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's kind of what I sort of refer to as sacrifice.
So the whole like rags to riches kind of angle is something that I think we are still challenging, I guess. Like why from nothing to something. I'm saying I'm already something. I'm not saying I'm nothing. Or I don't want to go to nothing and then become something. I'm already an established human being.
There you are.
In that sense, like I'm already like that. So I just want to relax and do something that's good and doesn't drain too much of, doesn't cause a lot of harm also to a lot of other people. And then, that's
fair enough.
Yeah.
Not causing harm to people is a good one. You know what I mean?
Because that's not exactly what's happening, I guess, now, right? Because...
No, and again, I will come back to it. Again, I think social media fuels this.
It does.
You know, when many years ago, if you wanted to protest in the 80s or the 90s, you couldn't connect with people.
Yeah, you go out on the streets.
You go out on the streets and you would see this. You would see people going out on the street with flyers, trying to hand them to people, saying, you know, meet at this point. You know, we're gonna sort of protest about this, and they'd have the picket boards and stuff like that. And it's still the same. The end result is still the same, which is the people in the street marching with the signs and everything. It's been happening in the UK since I've been alive. Yeah. But it's being able to gather that has become so much more advanced, where it's just being done and large groups are coming out in force. I always look at it and I think, but to what end? Yeah. You know, does anything ever get resolved?
But you know, when that's seen as a threat, or when you said like all these forms of protest, they're being mobilized by the internet, it's threatened when something that's powerful bans the internet. And of course, it's been happening a lot. So it's the impact is the impact of the internet is really strong, and people know that, which is why the easiest thing for these powerful people to do is shut off internet. And that's scary. It's scary to be with internet and without internet, I think. And by internet, I mean, because see, when I grew up, I think my earliest memories when I was, I think 3 or 4 or 5, we had this computer, and like a proper computer, like a desktop, and then it just had these animations and that whole Windows thing and all that. So from that into something that's transitioned into a cell phone that gives me everything that I want and I don't want, it's daunting.
What don't you want?
I don't want a lot of like ting, 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 ting to keep coming, asking for information that I don't need. Like if I search something, within the next 20 minutes, I'll get ads on that because you have my location, you have my cookies, you have everything. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I like about what you and I talk about is that we share a very similar kind of worldview.
We do, yeah.
Even though we are 28 years apart, I think that's
26?
right. 26? Yeah, because how old are you?
22.
48. Yeah, 26.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think
I fail maths a lot, but
the nature of sitting down with you and doing this was to try to ascertain if there are differences.
Yeah.
Like if I'm sitting here going, what the hell are you talking about? You know, it's all like that. Or you're sitting there going, easy, old man. Do you know what I mean?
That's how the rest of the world actually functions, which is really sad. Like if I have to take an example, at my workplace, everyone's older than me. I'm the only Gen Z in my team, and I think in the larger, bigger.
This is how we ended up on the podcast.
Yeah. So I think for me to have a transparent, open conversation with my boss, there have been times when I've slipped and I've said something a little deranged, and then he doesn't know what's going on. he can't relate, he can't understand. But because he hasn't had that kind of conversation with me, or I haven't had that kind of conversation with him. For us, it's always like, for me, it's like, oh yeah, you're an old guy. You've been here 20, 25 years. So you've seen it all. You're powerful. You're big. Rags to riches and all that. But for him, it's probably something like, I mean, for them, something like, not specifying any person living or dead.
The way that we are trying to be so careful with what we're saying,
I
it's
hope my
quite
boss doesn't listen to this.
It's quite astounding.
No, it's okay even if he does. But,
no, I mean, there's nothing. Listen,
I haven't said anything.
There's nothing wrong with anything anyone has said, because we're allowed to sit here and actually have we're not. And again, obviously we didn't just do this blind. We've spoken about how we could sort of construct it, and we're not here to have a debate. It's not Gen X versus Gen Z. It's about kind of, what do you think of that? And what do you think? Because I'm just intrigued about how you think.
Yeah, me too. I want to see the kind of, how is your thought process kind of influenced us, and how are we...
Badly, by the looks of things.
More than influence. See, I think we're all influencers in some way, I guess. I remember someone said religion is the biggest influencer or something like that. But I think it started with your generation or a little before that as well. It's just that now we're more aware of...
Well, we look, okay, so... Kim Kardashian took the first selfie. That's what that's what I believe to be true.
Yeah.
Selfies, I don't get it. Like, I've never understood it. Back in the day, you would try to hold your camera up and take a picture in reverse, which had very, very interesting results half the time. But I've never really understood the need to take a picture of yourself and put it online and tell everyone, look what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I think it's changed the way that I think everyone's becoming, I don't know what the right word is, because it's not insult. I don't want to insult people. Like, people like to tell people what they're doing, and fair enough. You know what I mean? I just think it's where you see these kind of videos of Gen Z, of younger people, taking like 100 pictures of themselves at the same moment, and then trying to filter it, and then trying to make it so everyone's curating something about themselves which is not 100% accurate, and then putting it online, and then seeing if people like it. It's like constantly saying, do you like me? Do you like the way I look?
Validation.
It's like you don't need that from so many different people. You might need it from your 10 best mates. Do you know what I mean? Or the people that are close to you. But
those who are prominent, sorry to cut you off, those who are prominent celebrities, I think they need that kind of liking and that constant stream of attention as well. So I think social media has also kind of revolutionized that. And I have a question to ask you.
Go on.
What do you think of cancel culture?
I think I'm about to find out. What do I think of cancel? Oh, man.
Your honest thoughts, just honest
My
thoughts.
honest thoughts of cancel. I mean, it's...
What do you think it is?
Okay. What do I think of cancel culture? I think that... I mean, that's kind of a big question. Okay. People do need to be held accountable for what they say, no doubt. Because if you get into I am hosting a podcast, right? I have made this decision to do it. I want to do it. I like it. I find it very rewarding and incredibly challenging, like right now. Do you know what I mean? So I do know, and the thing for me is sort of, let's say, off camera. You know what I mean? I'm a very outspoken person. I use a lot of colourful language. I have no problem in putting my point across, you know. And I'm always very aware that don't let fly in this scenario. Because what you're going to say is there forever. Now, when it comes to cancel culture, it's for me, it's like this. The language that people are and aren't allowed to use, and the way that this has changed in the last decade, it's like, how... If somebody doesn't know what they're saying is wrong, they're only being told it was wrong afterwards, should they be cancelled? For me, the answer is no. Because maybe they need to be educated. I mean, okay, the best example I could think of was there was a very old white guy, right, who's got to be in his late 60s, early 70s, and he was I think he was the CEO of a football club in the UK. I am very much paraphrasing. I can't remember the exact story.
Yep.
And this was when the term people of colour came in, where the UK through the 80s used to say coloured people, right? Now, he is from that generation.
Yeah.
Okay, so he said that in on a televised inquiry into the financial runnings of the football club. Had nothing to do with race or anything like that, and he used that term.
Yeah.
And then one of the people on the panel turned around and said, "Do you realise that you can't say that? You have to say person of colour." And he said, "I wasn't aware." And they said, "But you're being deeply..." And they went after him, and he lost his job. And he'd been at the club for 30 years. And so I'm happy to say that on the podcast, because obviously I'm using examples. The fact is that when does somebody know that the rules changed or the verbiage changed or the wording changed, and then what has become offensive in the eyes of certain individuals, you know, and then their lives are destroyed. So it's like, did you know and you just said it anyway? You know, like, you can't use the M word. I totally get that. We all know that. I can't sit here and say that to people, because if I say that, I should be cancelled. You get the point? So cancel culture, I think, has come from somebody saying something, people taking offence to it online, gathering momentum behind that to the point where they then shoot that up to that person's employer, and then the employer is now being tarnished by a group, and then they have to take action, which is that person is now cancelled.
I think I think the whole point of cancel culture, it is of course very okay. Someone does something, someone makes a mistake. We're educating them, we're telling them what he did is wrong. But if that person doesn't realize, or doesn't probably come from a place as well that realizes that, okay, this is wrong, or maybe I am part of the problem, or things like that, and then they refuse to take accountability, that's when the whole momentum,
I agree with,
the whole momentum comes in. But with the example you gave, it's wrong. The way the whole, I think cancel culture, it's guilty of dehumanizing people and completely ostracizing them. But there's a flip side to things, like everything. But then, we need to be mindful and respectful, especially when you're out on a public platform. I think cancel culture is not just about the person losing their job, their reputation being tarnished and all that. I think it's just something as simple as accountability, and something as simple as if someone's on a pedestal, especially if celebrities, and then they make a mistake, but still the whole concept of idol worshipping is going on. That's what is not right. I think you need to be brought down. You're not there anymore, or
This I agree with.
things like that. I think there's this whole theory of separating the art from the artist. Do you know that?
Oh, don't meet your heroes.
Sorry?
Don't meet your heroes.
Don't meet your heroes.
Separating the art from the artist.
So I think there was this French movement that kind of celebrated art for art's sake. Like, art is just art. You can't affiliate that to political situations or economical situations and history and cultures and all that. Art is just us. It's just mountains and sun and all of that. But the person who makes it with some kind of an intention, right? So
of course,
so, and that person's
passion, definitely passion.
And maybe the values they came from as well, the place that they come from, it's all there. Their way of thinking is also there. So I think you cannot separate that art and the artist. You cannot go and say, so if there's a very famous football player, there's a very famous person, he's the best, in his field, he's really good. They're really good. They play really well. They're all like good, great, the best and all that. But if you're a terrible human being, what's the point of that? If you've done something bad to someone, if you've really done something really bad to someone, what's the point of lauding that professional achievement?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because yes, if you so no, you're 100% right, Rupert. If you're a celebrity, well, if you're a celebrity, right, your commodity
Yeah.
is people.
Yeah.
Like you only become a Hollywood movie star if people want to go and see your movies.
Yeah.
You know, but that's where everyone gets around you and builds a brand out of you. You know,
Yeah.
and again, pre-social media, you didn't have access to these people.
Yeah.
So what you saw was what you saw. You know, their own PR machine building their public persona, and then there would be the shocking news that I don't know, a really good one would be the English actor Hugh Grant, who you probably don't know.
I know.
You know who he is? I'm not. That wasn't disrespectful. Right?
no,
He hasn't done anything amazing for a while, and he's older than me. So, but he was the English romantic comedy bumbling kind of Englishman who would talk like this and fall over, and we'd go, oh, look at you, you know, this sort of thing. And then I think it was in the mid-90s, and he dated Elizabeth Hurley, who was a supermodel, and they're like a UK power couple. And Hugh, and it's almost royal family type adulation. And then he gets caught in Los Angeles in a car with a prostitute. Mm-hmm. And you Google this. It's quite a hilarious story where you just but at the time, you were like, no way, like no way. You know, no way could somebody that we think is like that does things like this.
Yeah.
And that is part of celebrity culture where you realize that they're just people.
Yeah.
And they're being curated in your eyes as something that they're not in order to make you like them. Now, with what you're saying is that if you go and do something, you know, really bad, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sort of say horrible words, but you know what I mean? Like, you go and really hurt someone.
Yeah.
Great example would be the current P. Diddy situation where going around beating up women, mate, you lose it all.
Yeah.
The whole thing, because you can't sit there and go, but well, he said sorry, he repented, you know what I mean? He'll go into counselling. It's like, all right, maybe Hugh Grant can go into counselling for wanting to use prostitutes or something like this, but you shouldn't have to know or be taught not to hit women if you're a man, period.
Or if you're a woman, I mean, you shouldn't hit anyone.
Well, no, but you get the premise, which is yes, you shouldn't hit anybody, but you shouldn't have to be taught that. So when you see someone like that who has made billions and then, you know, you pull back the layers of the onion and you realize they're actually quite twisted, a bit evil, and going around domestically abusing people. Yeah. 100% they deserve to lose all credibility.
Yeah, and I think, like, imagine the person that's been like abused or exploited and beaten up, and imagine them feeling absolutely crap when that person's out on that pedestal and still there everywhere. So I think that's we're able to empathize with the person that's affected, and we don't care about the bigger person. No, I wouldn't say we won't care, but it's more important that we care about this person, and I think it's kind of like
why
that.
Do you think that we didn't, my generation? Do you think
I
there were moments where
maybe not much, but then maybe there's a way to get off that, as in, like, with the whole Hugh Grant thing. He'll go for counseling. There's ways to make up excuses for that, I think, but we don't have time for excuses, I think.
No, but then okay, the question is, I'm going to ask it, do you think what Hugh Grant did was wrong?
I think being a public figure, being a role model and all that, definitely what he did was wrong. Okay. And he did not take accountability for that, I'm assuming.
No, he did.
He did?
Oh, no, he did. He carried out the massive public apologising and stuff like this.
But he had to do that for his PR, right? It's not like he genuinely felt bad.
I don't think his career was ever the same again.
That's okay.
I don't think he...
No, genuinely, that's okay.
No.
You're going to lose a couple of $1 million.
I'm not trying to say that it should be... No, I'm saying that what I'm sort of saying is, I'm saying that what Diddy has apparently done is, you know, is violent and extremely bad, and a lot of people have got hurt. You know, Hugh Grant's kind of hurt himself. Do you know what I mean? Hurt his girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, and it's when you say separate the art from the artist, it's more like
You can't separate the art
when
from
you
the artist.
no, you can't, because but then it's like, take a lot of music. Now I'm a big fan of like what could be perceived as very aggressive music. You know, there are bands I listen to that when you sort of see their interviews and where they've come from and stuff like that, you can see that some of them, like Rage Against the Machine, are very, very politically charged, you know what I mean? But their music is outstanding. But because of their approach to life, what they went through when they were younger, and the way that comes out of them musically, if they haven't gone through it, you won't get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not just about the lyrics, it's about the way they create the noise that really like connects with large audiences. So it's a question of, you can't separate the art from the artist, but sometimes great art is coming from tragedy and negative experience. And see, this is a contradiction in terms. If you remove the negative experience, how does it affect the art? You know. But then you have to qualify what deems as an acceptable negative experience in order to say, okay, cool, well, you didn't have to go. We don't need that much. Do you know what I mean? For you to have gone through that. Do you get my point?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to the guy Vincent van Gogh, right? So when he was doing his art, no one cared about him.
Yeah.
And he was a failure. And then I think he cut off his ear, and
He was very troubled.
we make memes about it and stuff. But then, but when he passed away, that's when his art started getting significance, and that's when you look at the Starry Night and his other paintings, you realize, okay, like that's how he was not mentally well. He had his issues. He was struggling, but then. Now the fact that Starry Night is so famous, so popular, but then when it actually came out, it was such a failure. It's really sad. Yeah.
So what are you optimistic about?
What am I optimistic about?
What does Gen Z think is good? Have we done anything good? And I don't mean that in a, like I said, in a condescending fashion. So I'm completely reaffirming everything I'm saying all the time. But the thing is I'm saying, you know, the narrative is from Gen X that lazy, entitled, wants everything, don't want to work for it. And Gen Z, the narrative is you've ruined the world and the climate.
We want to work from home.
Right. We want to work from home. We want to stay in bed. No, but which I don't think is true. Do you know what I mean? Like, but what have we done that's good? If the answer's nothing,
Top of my mind, I'm just thinking. I think the kind of machines that have been invented was by the machines that have kind of made life easier in terms of chores. I don't know why when you just asked what have we done good, a picture of a washing machine just came in my head. But yeah, I don't know, like things like that, like invention of telephone, invention of all of these that make our life a little easier. But then again, that the impact that has had, that's something that we're dealing with. So when y'all created it, the impact was supposed to be good. It was supposed to be a thing that helps our people. But then when we're living with so much of AI and so much to the point where AI is coming after our jobs and all that, right? That's scary.
But AI is the millennials. It's not us.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Blame them.
It's the evolution, No. It's the evolution, so that's that. But actually, I wanted to come back to something.
Okay.
The Hugh Grant thing.
Yes, go on,
because we were on the topic of cancel culture. So
yes.
I think we can't use the word prostitute.
Okay.
Instead, we use the word sex worker.
Okay.
Because I think the word prostitute dehumanizes the person who's doing that job. So the way we look at it is Hugh Grant is a powerful guy. Dehumanize him. Don't dehumanize sex worker. So that's the term that we
Okay.
use. So again, I'm not canceling you, but
No,
Yeah,
but also, if you recall, I never said anything about who he was with. I said how it affected, and he got dehumanized. I'll tell you that much. He really got dehumanized
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time. You know, the woman involved was not held, and this is, you can Google it, was not ever held accountable. Not what I mean is, she was never demonized. It was more like drawn into something with this. You know, she was there.
because that's how power works, right? As the power dynamics, that's how it kind of works. I think even if you look at maybe a recent case, if you look at the whole Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard thing, right? So when we kind of study that, the fact that the whole case played out on social media, okay, that's there. But then the way the whole narrative changed from victimizing one party to victimizing another, and then demonizing one, and then demonizing the other one. Yeah, it changes. So nothing is, I think, it's not here to stay. Things will keep changing. Opinions will keep changing. They'll be formed. Everything is an imitation of an imitation anyway.
But this is because everyone keeps talking about it from a million different angles.
Exactly.
So you'll open your phone or you'll open YouTube, and if you actually search Johnny Depp, Amber Heard,
Yeah.
just like take a step back. I'm not telling you to do this, I'm not even watching it. Just take a step back and just see, just like hedonistically see what's coming.
Yeah.
And they're going, he did this, no, she did that, no, 10 reasons he's that, 15 reasons she's this, the inside track, the thing you didn't know, you know.
And that horrible Netflix show that was out.
Yeah, I know, that was just a disaster.
Yeah.
You know. But that's actually a very, very good point, that that nothing has a lot of...
Nothing is permanent, I think.
Well, nothing has a lot of sort of... There's not a lot of clarity. All there is what you are going to listen to, but you're being... Well, we, all of us, get pushed into echo chambers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, okay, we're going to wrap up. Because this has been, again, fascinating, and I don't know how I'm going to come out of this, or you, actually.
Yeah.
So I think but are you, okay, at 22, right, and me being 26 years older than you, okay, and hopefully I'll live for at least another 20 more years, okay, which means there's another 46 years for you. What do you think the world's going to be like when you're my age?
I can't see myself, honestly. To be very honest, I can't see
be very
myself
honest.
reaching that age.
Why?
I really can't, because...
Why? Go on. That's dark.
No, I genuinely can't see. For me, I always have short-term plans.
Yeah.
This is like, let me get through this week, let me get through this month, let me get through this year. But 10 years from now, what am I going to do? 15 years from now, I don't know.
No, but what springs to mind? If I put you on the spot and I say, what do you think your life's going to look like when you're 50?
I would say hopefully I'm just content. That's it. Nothing else. I know for a fact that I can't make a lot of money, and that's completely fine. I don't want a lot of money. But yeah, do something inherently good and something that I'm satisfied with, and just go to sleep feeling content. That's it. Nothing more. And maybe tend to the geese that I have. Tend to the geese that I have in my farm, and then, that's it.
Amazing.
That's all. Well, how do you see? Okay, how do you see yourself in the next 20 years? What do you think? Yeah, you'll have less hair than now, and then.
No, I hope not. I've hardly got any left. What? 20 years for me, I'll be.
I make a lot of bald man jokes. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I've taken offence to that.
Oh,
You should be cancelled.
no. Oh,
You know what I
no.
mean? Yeah, there you go. I'm offended on behalf of bald culture. I can't control it. You know.
Yeah.
I feel very.
Do you know I actually went bald myself?
I do not.
A little bit of a self plug and all that. I donate my hair regularly for cancer patients, and last year February I shaved it off completely,
Oh wow.
and it felt really nice. Felt so lightheaded.
It's very
It
easy.
was really good. It was really
It's a
good.
very easy hairstyle
Yeah,
to
it's
have.
but I mean I think for women especially because we have anyone who has longer hair, much longer hair. So to go from this much of hair to nothing felt really good. So yeah.
How did it feel when you were sitting looking in the mirror and the first were you like, okay,
Yeah,
there's no going back?
I
You know what I
covered
mean?
my face. It was a lot of emotions I think because it was very overwhelming. And I just said, okay, fine, it's okay, it's good. It's hair, it'll grow back. What else? Yeah, that's all. So it felt nice. I'm going to do it again, maybe once this grows a little more. And then,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
So I really strongly think that if you have, this is something that I've kind of grown up with. If you have an excess of something, probably give it to those who have a deficit of that thing, which is kind of like a very commerce kind of thing to say. But then, yeah, if you just have something, just give it to someone who does not have that. Something as simple as food, something as simple as hair, money. Give me your money. If anyone
I
wants to
haven't
give
got
me
any
money,
money.
no.
You
If
know what I
you
mean?
got money, if anyone has money, just give it to me. It's okay. I'm broke. I'm always so broke. So yeah, I'm more than welcome. Yeah, just give me the money. If you have a lot of money, yeah, I would be very happy to take it.
Do you know what? I think this what's the time? I think this just starts up a whole other. This just starts up. I think, look, the audience. You know, there's an audience here, okay, but there's an audience who's just watching us, who's just going, just stop it, properly. But okay,
I think at the end of this video, I'll put a QR code that
Right.
links to my bank account. You can send me money there. But yeah,
oh no, that's a whole other thing now. No, right?
the billionaires have to give me money.
No, you see, okay, the billionaire thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, maybe we have to do part 3. Do you know
Oh.
what I mean? Do we do? I think about okay. The thing is that okay. I tell you what I believe. Okay, and I'm set in my ways with statements like this, which is, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? Is doing the job that I do, I actually really love doing this, you know what I mean? So please don't everyone cancel me, do you know what I mean? But the thing is, I do love doing this, and I would like to do this long term. This is really cool and I love it, right? The job that I actually do, I really, really like it. You know, is it like the ultimate job for me in the world? You know, probably not, but I really enjoy it. I get so much from doing it. It's very challenging. I meet a lot of interesting people. I do a lot of different things. And I really, really like it. And I don't consider a lot of it to be work. I'm happy to work longer hours, stay back and do stuff, work on weekends, work my day off. I do this on my day off, so nobody can call me and tell me what to do. I can actually tell them, you know, leave me alone. But the more passionate I think you are about something, and you can only be passionate if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, because we all know this, Gen Z, Gen X, boomers, whoever, millennials, you can't be passionate about something you don't like. It's very, very tough to do that. But then the more passionate you are, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And I always think that money is a byproduct of what you actually set out to achieve, unless you work in the banking sector, because it's all about money, right?
Yeah.
But if you were to start something like universal basic income, I don't know if you've heard of this term, you must have done, which is the machines take over,
Yeah.
they do all the jobs, and we get given enough money to pay our bills and eat,
Yeah.
you know, then do we all lose purpose? You know, if someone gave you 20,000 dirhams a month, you're going to go, oh yeah, great, because then I can do nothing. But how long can you do nothing for before you start getting really bored? And as they say, retirement is one of the biggest killers of people, because they lose purpose, even though they might have money.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very interesting spin for Gen Z.
I really think there's a part 3 coming.
There is a part 3 coming. To answer your question, where do I think I'll be in 20 years?
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope to be alive. I hope to be comfortable. I hope to still have a purpose, still have value, still have my sanity and my ability to make decisions, which funnily enough is not a million miles away from what you said about being
Exactly, yeah.
content.
Yeah.
So
I just want to be sane. I don't want the world to drive me insane. I guess.
I'll put your phone down.
That's
mate.
it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So look, Rupa, I love you. Thank you so much. I don't speak on behalf of the whole of Gen X, and you're not speaking on behalf of the whole Gen Z. But I think that if we don't do a part 3, we're going to do one. But if we didn't, you know what I mean? I don't think there's a lot of difference between us
Yeah.
in how we see the world. And I hope people can see that and maybe think about that.
Yeah, and I think people should probably take away how respectful we've been.
Yeah.
That's instead of just like going out and straight out like canceling other people and all that. So yeah, you're human, I'm human, tasty humans, and yeah, that's all. That was good. That was actually good.
Huh?
Thank
I'm
you.
ending it there.